Pregame.com.
Kansas City plus 14.5 at New England. Monday Night Football. Who do you like and why?
Well, I'm going to go with the over here, and this is going to be kind of a contrarian play because people know that Kansas City's quarterback got hurt. Matt Castle's out, and we're going to be going with Tyler Pelko, former Pitt grad, been in the league for a few years now. No real experience, but this is a play where I know New England's going to score, and I just don't see a big defensive effort from the Patriots defense. They played a huge game last week on Sunday night, division game, rivalry game, the bad blood between the Jets and the Patriots. And they made such a statement, and it was a TV game. The defense played so well. I just think them coming, showing up, mailing it in. And this is not a good defense for the season. And I think Tyler...
All right, so let's ask that question. Is the performance against the Jets defensively exceeded expectations for the Patriots?
Absolutely.
Is that a situation where, I'll give you three multiple choices. One, there's been a fundamental change and the Patriots D's gotten better. Number two is the Jets offense is just that bad. Or number three, it was one of those aberrations that happened.
I'm going to go with the third one. I don't think the Jets offense is one of those great offenses, but I think that, again, we've talked about Belichick. I've done in the past that he's a guy that can really, when he game plans and he can take a quarterback out of a game.
Yeah, but that would apply and every time the Patriots go on the field. So why don't they have a good day?
Well, their secondary is not good.
But they played well against the Jets.
They played, it's like, does Pittsburgh and Baltimore play at the same intensity level against other teams than they do against each other?
So you're saying it was about intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory then anytime, I'm not sure. So you expected the Patriots to play like that because it was an intense game?
I didn't expect them to play as good as they did, but now that they did, what I do expect is a regression and a letdown just because they had such a satisfying win against their arch rival. Just like last week, Baltimore, after the Pittsburgh game, went into Seattle and lost outright to the Seahawks.
Yeah, understood.
Which I mentioned to you, I picked that last week outright.
One of the things we're doing is Vegas rankings. We've been talking about this in all the videos. You can go there directly at vegasrankings.com. We've got a number of bookmakers and pro bettors that put together their rankings. The no BS rankings might be another way to say it. When there's a big injury, they put a value on it. What do you think you haven't looked yet, have you? Because you're not a rankings guy.
No.
What do you think that the Matt Castle switch to whatever this guy's name is?
Tyler Pelko.
Tyler P. I'll call him. Okay. How many points do you think that's worth?
I'm going to say they gave a difference of 2.5 points more.
1 point. So really what they're saying, and this is something that consistently the average bettor does, is he overvalues quarterbacks. Now there's a rare situations like we're seeing with Peyton Manning, but in general, if the quarterback's not elite, there's not that much of a drop-off. We've seen it with Arizona. I think we've seen it a lot this year. So I like the contrarian element of you saying, quarterback's out, I'm going over. I kind of like that. All right, so what's your next big point?
Well, the next big point, and it goes back to the first point about I expect a letdown from New England defensively. I've got a stat that over the last 2 seasons with New England, now your answer to this is going to be, well, New England just scores all the time and they've been an over team. But when New England's coming off a 10-point or more victory the last 2 seasons, they've gone over 11 of 12 times in the next game.
Yeah, they've gone over like significant percentage of all games. So that's a good stat of all games. And it's one of those things. At what point, and I said the same thing about Green Bay last week on the Monday video, at what point do we quit saying take the points and accept that maybe the team that we consider to be the best team in football is underrated? Because you can be the best team in football by consensus and still be underrated because you're better. The distance between you and number 2 is wider than people think. Maybe the Patriots offense is just that much better than we think it is, even though we think it's one of the best offenses out there.
And you know I go to the Tuesday meeting every week, and all year at the beginning of the year we kept talking about, okay, the Patriots just keep going over. Every week Vegas comes out, they put a number up, and it pops 2 points right away because everybody jumps on the over. At what point is the value gone and now you have to step in and take the under? With that said, this week, because of the injury to Castle and the public perception that you don't have a quarterback, we're getting a number where I feel we're getting value at 46.5.
Makes a lot of sense. I like this handicap. What do you think? Haley coached under Belichick. What factor is that?
There's going to be, obviously, it's a shame that we lost Castle because then we would have had 2 factors. We would have had Haley and Castle coming back to New England. I've never been a Haley fan, so I'm going to be biased. I think Belichick will probably just slap him around like he does, most of his disciples. But I just don't think Haley's a good game manager. He might be a good coach, might be a good assistant, but I don't like him as a head coach. And we've seen that in the NFL.
His teams try, though. High effort.
His team is definitely overachieved with the talent that they've had.
That's all you can ask the coach to deliver.
That's what you can.
They've covered 11 or 13 as a double-digit dog. I find that interesting. But here's something that's a more macro, big picture stat. If all you did in the last 23, 1998, 1988 NFL seasons was take every time you could get more than 14 points. Mm-hmm. That's it. Blind. Boom, boom, boom. You would have hit 55.5%. So the best wise guys in the world hit 55 or even a little less, 54.8, whatever. Now, clearly your volume here isn't crazy high. But to me, I think on the side, you've got to start with the dog, and it's dog or pass. Now, that doesn't mean, again, 55% means 45 out of 100 times you're gonna lose, but or you're gonna win. But the fact of the matter is, if you're trying to beat the 11 to 10, and you're starting in a situation which is 44.5%, which is laying more than 14, to get up to 55 is going to take a ton of reason that I think it's hard to get there.
Right, and to throw in, we always talk about public perception. Be John Q. Public right now. They saw New England on Sunday night dismantle the Jets. Then they watched on Monday night a favorite in the similar situation dismantle Minnesota.
That's a great point. So we always, seriously, that's a great point. Is what you're saying is when you have a similar scenario, and that happens sometimes in the NBA playoffs where if there's a bunch of unders, even if it's not the team that you're looking at in this matchup, everyone's wanting to bet under or wanting to bet over. You're saying, oh, I laid the points, I swallowed the 14 or the 13, and I won. It was easy. Now you're more inclined next week. That's a great point.
So I think there, it would be hard to take Kansas City, but I think there is value with Kansas City this week. But I think the better value is on the over.
I'm going to let you give you a projection, but let's talk about one thing real quick. Is last week we heard a lot about Belichick off a loss. It was 20 out of 27 ATS or something. This stat really interested me. Is off a blowout win, which I think is defined as greater than 14 points. Belichick is 27 and 13 ATS, so over 66%, 27 and 13 off a blowout win. So really what Belichick does is whenever there's a trap, a coaching trap, he seems able to avoid it. And you put Belichick in a normal situation, coaching a playoff game, really you look at his, 3 Super Bowls, it's hard to argue, but you look at his stats over the course of his career, way above average, but certainly not like, oh my God, right? So the point I'm making is I don't think Belichick's real dominance happens in spots like that. I think they happen in spots where the typical team is going to have a problem, but he's not going to let his team have a problem.
And I'll throw in one other reason, and again, why I said the over is the better way to go than Kansas City, although we've made a lot of good points for Kansas City.
Except that last one's clearly the other one.
Clearly the other way, and I'm going to give you another one that's clearly the other way. Belichick's going to go to the game films from last year, and he's going to pull up when New England played Green Bay. and Rodgers was out. And I think the guy was Matt Flynn or something, is the backup for them. Green Bay went into New England. Remember, New England was rolling last year, and New England was able to pull off a game with the backup. And he's going to show his team. You can't take a team, no matter what the circumstance is, for granted.
I think it's hard to lay the points, but I also think I'm not so quick to want to take the points. Give us your projection.
I'm going to go with the over. The total right now is 46.5.
This is your camera right here.
Okay, 46.5. 34-17 is I'm going to project the score. New England winning by 17. Clearly, at that score, we're going over the total with a comfortable ease. So,
I think I like your handicap on this. All right, guys. Every Monday we have a pick the score contest. It's free. You just go to pregamevideos.com. You reply to the thread, pick the score. It's free, no obligation. If you get the score right, it's a free roll. You get $100 in pregame dollars to spend any way you want. We do that every Monday at pregamevideos.com. Actually, also there we discuss all of the week's videos. So go there, ask any questions you want. We'll talk to you there.